Hey guys, welcome back to our second video of our Windows Virtual Desktop deployment tutorial. In this tutorial we will cover the creation of the domain controller and the Azure Active Directory on there, and the installation of RDP Connect. Also we will add some users and an organization unit that we can sync for later use, so we can use GPOs on that. So at first we need two resource groups, and we are logged in the Azure portal, and we create one resource group for our domain controller. We call that Windows Virtual Desktop Basic. This will just contain the domain controller, and we create this in West Europe. So next you can add some tags, and you should fill this because you can use, it's really recommended to fill these values because you can put in the names, who is the administrator, who is the billing unit, what organization is this for. So add some information there, and you can easily sort with this. So this is the first one. And we create another one for our host pool, and we call this Windows Virtual Desktop Host Pool 1. We can create more host pools for that, but we just go with one for the first time. Just as an example, so if you want to use host pools for different kind of users that you have, like HR or the developers that may use CAD or something, then you want to choose different types of machines. So there's different flavors in there, and some come with graphics, like the NVIDIA ones. You can choose this one. So my recommendation is for every host pool to create another resource group that you can easily manage the devices in there. So if we list our host groups now, we should have the basic one and the host pool here. So we jump in this one, and then we add some services, and we choose the Windows Server 2016 data center. Later on we choose the Windows Server 2019 because it's the most recent one, and as a resource group we choose the Windows Virtual Desktop Basic. So we call this Windows Virtual Desktop DC, and the region for this is West Europe. If you want to add another one, you want to have redundancy there, you can add another one, and then you have to add an availability zone or an availability set to make sure that the VMs are not running on the same hypervisor. So if one of the machines is going down or the infrastructure is failing, then you have the another one. And keep in mind, as long as the price calculator suggested, price-wise, if we go with the domain controller, this one is pretty cheap. It costs us around 40 euros. So you can have two for 80 euros, or you can go with one Azure Active Directory domain services. That costs you 90 plus euros a month. So this would be cheaper, it would even be cheaper if you go with two domain controllers in here. But we stay with one. This should be really enough for us. And then we choose the data center. It's the Windows Server 2019 data center generation 1. We take the B2S machine that we have in the pricing calculator over here. That's this one. And put a username in there. We call it Windows Virtual Desktop Admin, and we choose a password. Then we can select the inbound ports. We just use the allowed selected ports is the RDP 3389 TCP. That is being used by the MTSC service, remote desktop services. And later on we use just-in-time connection to secure this connection, so nobody's able to brute force us with this open port here. Next, we choose the disks, and as Microsoft suggests, we take the premium SSD because we have a higher SLA. So if we take HDD, then Microsoft suggests this machine with premium disks qualify for 99% connectivity SLA. So we go with the premium one, but you can for sure take the other ones if you don't take if you don't want to save money, and if you don't mind about the SLA, then you can go with this one. So in decryption type, we save the standard value here. Then we go to networking. And this new virtual network will be created for us. It's the Windows Virtual Desktop Basic VNet. The default values in here, we can go with this one. You can specify it if you want, but I will go with the standard one in this example here. And another time we will be asked for the network security group and the open inbound ports. We leave this on the standard values. So, and as Microsoft suggests here, this will allow all IP addresses to access the virtual machine. So if you don't close the ports, or if you don't use just-in-time connection, then this machine can be brute forced by somebody who uses the IP addresses Microsoft uses. So and it's normally if you run a machine like this and you leave the ports open, then the machine is 1 or 2 days later, it's not your own anymore. So somebody else will take over. Next is management. I don't need the boot diagnostics here, so I disable it. So I don't need another storage account where the information is being stored. And what we want is we do manual patching. So Microsoft offers us OS orchestrated patching. The patches will be installed by the OS. And here we can go and install this by our own. On the advanced tab, we can put some extensions in there, but we leave it like it is. The next one is we can add tags, add here the name of the administrator who's responsible. So if somebody's messing up, or somebody wants to know who's responsible for this machine, or you want to put in a billing unit, then you can add the values in here. It's free text, so you can put in everything you want. So the next one is just summary of everything that we selected. And now we check create. So this takes about 2 or 3 minutes, then everything is being ready and we are ready to access the machine. So this is the first step in creation of the domain controller. And this is the really best option and the cheapest option you can go with, because you can use what you have been using the last years on your let's say on your on-premise environment. You can use GPOs, you can use schema, you can use everything that you worked with the last years, and yeah, this is pretty much everything that we need in this moment. So that was pretty quick. Now we can go to the resource here, and we can see and compare if everything has been done like we did that in our creation here. So you can see already the public IP address. We can see the size of the machine that we choose. And what else can we do? We can configure the DNS name. DNS is something that we have to configure later on, because the host pool has to join the domain, and therefore we have to configure the virtual network to set the DNS to have the IP address of the domain controller. So in this example, the IP address, the private IP address of the domain controller is the 10.0.2.4. So we can configure the virtual network after that. So the next step is we connect to the virtual machine. We do this by RDP connection. And we can download the RDP file. Just click on that and enter the names that we selected in the creation process. So after putting in our credentials correctly, we can connect to our domain controller. And first thing we want to do is we got to promote this to domain controller. and we switch off the enhanced internet security because we want to download something and we don't want to we don't want to put every page on the whitelist. So for doing that, we just go to local server and we switch this enhanced security configuration to off. You can switch it on later if you're done with downloading things. So back in Server Manager, we click on Manage and click on Add Rows and Features. Just go to Next. I'll click on row-based and feature-based installation. Just click on Next, and then we want to use this Azure Active Directory domain services. Click just Add Features, click on Next, on Next, on Next. Then we can check the box here, restart the destination server automatically if required. We have to do that once we promote this to the main controller, and click on Install. So the installation will start and it will take about 3 to 5 minutes to complete. So all the features that we need will be installed in the background now, like the ADDS and LDS tools, the modules you need for PowerShell, the snap-ins, and the Directory Administrative Center. So once again, if you decide to go with the Azure Active Directory domain services, you're free to do that. But it's, in my opinion, it's easier to manage all the users and groups via the standard one. The only downside of using the Active Directory on the domain control server, like we use it now, is that we have to manage the server itself. So we have to patch it and update it. And but to secure it, we also apply the Windows Security Center, the Azure Security Center on the server. So everything is monitored regarding security on there. So if everything suspicious happens, it will be displayed in the Security Center. So the feature installation is complete. Then next we click on Close. And then we have to promote this one to the main controller. Just click on here, and then we have to add a new forest. And this is where we have to enter the root domain. Don't go with the local ones, because this may be exposed to the internet, and you don't want to go with the local. So in this case, we go with also WVD. We'll click on Next. Then we have to put in password for the restore mode. We click on Next. Next. The NetBIOS domain name will be filled in automatically. Just takes a little bit of time. We click on Next. Next again if you don't want to change anything. And it tells us if we click Install, the server automatically reboots at the end of the promotion operation. This takes a few minutes. So back again to our choice of the B machines. The B machines are quite useful. I can show you what they offer. So switch this to English. This is a really good page for watching yeah, and I get a good overview over all VMs, what is the purpose, and what are they capable of, what is a use type, what description is there, what sizes you can choose from. We took the B1. This is the burstable computer series, and they you can read it here. They are ideal for workloads that do not need the full performance of the CPU continuously, like web servers, proof of concepts, small databases, development build enterprise. And also this applies for domain controllers. There's nothing they really have to handle. There's not so much load on there. So what we choose the B2S one, 2 vCPUs, 2 GB of memory, and there's an 8 GB SSD that is directly set on the hardware side. This is our D partition, where our page file lies. What you can see here, what is the difference between the B series and the other ones? The B series are called the burstable series. That's the B for it. And what they deliver 40% base CPU performance. So we only get 40% of what we buy here, but these ones are able to boost by 200% of what we buy. And these ones are collecting credits as long as they run. So if you let them run, they initially have 60 credits. And if they are doing nothing, they're idling or something, then they're collecting 24 credits an hour, which makes them capable of boosting. So if this one is a machine that runs 24/7, so this is collecting credits right away all the time, and the maximum is 576 credits. You can see this machine size is really good for the domain controllers, because domain controllers are really doing nothing until user logs in or until there's synchronization started, and then they can use this boost performance mode to get the load done in a really good time. And yeah, that's why it's good for this. So if you use B machines, don't shut them down, because if you shut them down, you will lose all the bank credits that are in there, and you will start again with the 60 initial credits that are there. So let's go back to our deployment. What you can see is that there is the server in the background was shutting down and was restarting. So let's see if it's already back online, and you can see, okay, it's back online. So let's connect again. So we use the same RDP file that we downloaded before. Connect again, enter our credentials. And now it's updating for the group policy client. This may take a little time. This can take up to 10 minutes. So just wait for that to finish, and then we can begin starting putting our organizational unit in there and adding users and new user group. So our server is now ready for creating the users and groups. We do this over the tools section here, and click here on Azure, on Active Directory users computers. Now under this tree, we can add some users, and we can add some a new organization unit. So what we do is we click on here, and then we click on here, and our new organization unit, its name is WBD. Then inside this group, we create some users, and we call it WBD1. Go next, choose a password for that. Then create another user. Get another password for that. And we create a third user. And then we create a group. And we call the group host pool 1. We call the group WVD users. And this is a security group and a global one. So then we put in another new organizational unit in here that we call host pool 1. And then we can add the users in there. The next step is we put the numbers in here. This WVD user 1. WVD02. And number 3. Click OK, and then we're fine with that. So you can add the users here, you can import one, you can use your already active users that you can put in here. But we're working with the organizational units because we want to maybe apply some rule settings over this. So next step is we have to synchronize these users and groups to our Active Directory. And I can show you what is in there already. In the Azure portal, we click on Azure Active Directory, and then we can see all the users. And you can see there's just the administration user and some other user that I created. And there's some groups. It's just a test group and nothing else. So what we do now, we just install RDP Connect. Just download it from the Microsoft site. This should be pretty fast because we download it from within Azure. So then run the MSI package. And installation is being done. So we to start the install, we just agree on the license terms. And we click continue, choose the express settings here. And then we have to add the Azure AD Global Administrator credentials. That's the one that we use in our Azure Active Directory. So this is the ones that we use. This is the Global Administrator account, or maybe the Global Administrator account that we have in Azure already. This is the right one. Then we have to verify the multifactor. And we go to the next step. This is also .wvd/wvd admin, and the password that we were using on this domain controller. We click on next, check this box here. And now it's configuring. It's starting the synchronization process when configuration completes. Just click here on install. It's installing the Microsoft SQL Server Express local DB here, configuring it, installing the native client. And now it's starting the synchronization service. So this will take about 5 to 10 minutes until the first users will be synchronized to our Azure Active Directory. In the meantime, we can have a look at our Active Directory. Looking here for users, and if we click on refresh, then there will be a new user that is a synchronization user that will be applied by the synchronization process, and then all the users will be synchronized a little bit later. So this step shouldn't take too long. It takes up to 5 minutes if it's slow, but normally it should be really fast. So now we should see the new user. It's creating the Azure Active Directory synchronization account. That's the one that will be pushed in here. Should be here in a few seconds. Just wait a little bit. Now it's configuring the AD directory sync, which will push our users and groups. Now it's updating the synchronization rules. It's configuring the local domain. And now you can see this is on-premise sync service. This one is doing all the synchronization processes that we use for pushing all the users and groups from our domain controller into the AD. So this should be the last step that this installation wizard will do. Configuration now is not complete. We can just exit this here. And we are done with this step. And we see us in the next video when we create the host pool that we want to use.